Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio. This is the Ramsey Show. It's where we talk about your life, your money, your work, and your relationships. I'm Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, joined by my colleague George Camel, Ramsey personality as well, and we are here for you. It's a free phone call, 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. So Camel and Coleman on duty for you today.
You love alliteration, and I'm here for it.
I do. But we have a K and a C there if you're keeping score at home. Let's get right to it. Stephanie joins us, the suburbs of Atlanta, George. Alpharetta, Georgia. Stephanie, how can we help?
Hello, how are you both? Thank you for taking my call.
You bet.
So I've been following the principles for the last 2 years. We actually just bought our home listening to the 25% of our take-home pay, 15-year fixed, and now we're ready to go on to step 4, but because I've never invested, I'm 34, and I don't know much about it other than what I've heard on the show. I hear, like, maxing out Roth IRAs, but with only 3 months left in the year, does that mean like putting the $6,000 in 3 months? How does that work? Like maxing out Roth IRAs? My company does offer that option.
So your company has a Roth 401k, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. The IRA would be outside of your employer.
Oh, okay.
Now, first of all, way to go on doing the housing with our parameters. That's impressive. Most people say it's impossible, Stephanie. Can you just tell people out there that it can be done?
It can be done. It took me about 1.5 years to get my husband on board, but once I had him on board, we were just gazelle intense to a certain extent.
That's the hard
part. We've been looking at houses during this. Yes, during the crazy housing market, we actually bought it as it started to calm down a little bit, right before the interest rates went up, but best timing. We love the house, and now we're just like, okay, let's keep the momentum going and go right into investing and not just get comfortable. So it's possible, and we are very happy. So thank you guys.
Yeah. So what's your household income?
We're at $185.
Fantastic.
Net. Mm-hmm.
And that is gross or net?
Net.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, so 15% of your household gross income would be how much? Have you done the math on that? I'm guessing you guys are making well over 200 at that point.
Well over 200. I can speak for myself in saying I'm doing 15%. My husband hasn't quite got on board with that step, so I just plan on doing my portion of the income investing now.
Hold on, you said he's not on board with that step?
He's not. It's a little weird. He is coming from a very wealthy family, and they've kind of just told him that he's inheriting a good portion, so he doesn't really have the urgency, but, I do. So I still want to continue doing my steps.
Wow. Well, I'll speak in generalities then, since he's not totally on board, but you're right. If you have a Roth 401k, you can do all 15% in there. What you're saying is, well, I'm not going to be able to max it out from October to December. Mm-hmm. Now, you can increase the percentage to get you closer to 15%, but you can't do 100% of your paycheck. You guys need to put food on the table.
Yeah.
And so you could max out 2 Roth IRAs, which is going to be $6,000 each, and you can do that up until tax time. And so it doesn't have to be by the end of the year for the IRAs. It would have to be for the 401k.
Got it. So the 401k is until December 31st?
Yes.
And the other one's until April?
Exactly. And are you guys working with a financial advisor, a SmartVestor Pro right now?
That's the next step. I think once the house it's 30 days old even in the house. So that's the next step is getting a financial advisor.
Great. I'm hoping that helps get him on board too. Make sure he's there. Don't just go alone and say I'm meeting with a financial advisor and he goes, okay, whatever. I got mom and dad's inheritance, so I'm not worried about that. Yeah. You guys have to be doing this together.
I want to dig into that if I may, George. Sure. Stephanie, assuming he's going to get this inheritance upon his parents' death, is that
correct?
How old are they?
Not old, but they're in their early 60s.
Yeah, I mean, I would really challenge him on that mindset.
What happens if they live till 95 and now you guys are 65 and he's broke in retirement, hoping
George, you took the words right out of my mouth. What about Prince Charles? Prince Charles thought he was going to be the king pretty soon. His mom lived forever. The guy's in his 70s taking the throne. You can't bank on that.
That analogy on him.
Thank you very much. A little pop culture wisdom for you today.
So a little royal family trivia there.
Well, but it's true, though, George. Yeah. I mean, I would really challenge your husband on that kind of thinking that, well, we're just going to, our way through life because we got a hefty settlement coming our way. And here's the other thing: Mom and Dad could change the will at any time.
I was also thinking that too. That worries me to bank on that.
Huh.
That's icing on the cake to me. That's a nice blessing, a nice legacy. But while we're alive, we're doing everything we can in our power to set ourselves up for financial freedom.
I'm trying to affect his safety gland a little bit. He seems like he's just running around in a padded room, Whee! We can do whatever we want. It's going to be okay. And I think that's dangerous. And I think that I would really challenge his logic on that a little bit. That's just a little extra to get him there. But I agree with George. He needs to be there and sit with the financial advisor and get a picture.
Do you guys have a tax pro as well?
We don't.
Okay. With your income levels, I would highly recommend you can jump on Ramsey Solutions and connect with a SmartVestor Pro and a tax pro who can help walk you through this to make sure that you're maximizing, getting all the tax advantages that you can, doing things the right way, especially when it comes to the IRA piece. So I'd connect with both of those folks and get a plan now that you guys are in this investing mode. Do you have kids?
We have a 3-month-old.
Oh, how exciting. So on top of starting to invest for retirement, you get to invest for that 3-month-old and help cover college. Yeah. 529 plan that's state specific. You can choose a state that's not Georgia. And again, a SmartVestor Pro can walk you through all the different options for you. And you might find that the Utah 529 plan is actually better versus an education savings account. So they can walk you through all that. But I'm just so proud of you guys. This is an exciting new phase for you.
Yes.
And I know it feels like, do you feel like you're behind because you're 34? And you're just starting investing?
When I think about it, yes, but I didn't think about investment, because I was so focused on getting the house and these paused the step forward and did just the 3B up, that route.
Way to go.
I don't want to say I feel behind, but sometimes I do, and now I'm like, what do I do? It just seems like a foreign world to me.
Sure. Well, I just want to tell you, you're not too late. And a lot of people out there, they're starting, even when they're 28, they go, I should have been investing earlier. When you're 50, I should have been investing earlier. And the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The next best time is today. And so I love that you guys are focused on the future. You've got a long life ahead of you to invest, to become multimillionaires, to be outrageously generous, because that's what this plan is all about. And so keep your sights set. You can be investing. You can be giving. You can enjoy your life and spend some of it. And with that income, with no debt, you guys are in an amazing place. So I'm proud of you.
Awesome.
Way to go, Stephanie. Fun stuff.
We love to hear it.
Yeah. You pointed this out right out of the gate. It is rare that we run into a caller that is, hey, we did the 15 year mortgage and put it down, and it's rare. We're trying to talk people into that.
And Alpharetta's not cheap, Ken.
Oh, I know. Woo. Let me tell you something.
Everyone goes, well, my city's different, Ken. You don't understand my situation.
Yeah.
It can be done.
But yet they got a great investment in that area as well. You want to stay off of 400. If you don't know that area well, stay off of Highway 400. That'll take years off of your life.
The danger
if you spend
zone.
Too much time there. All right. So hey, we're just getting rolling. We got some advertisements to take care of.
Pay the bills.
But we'll be right back. This is the Ramsey Show.
Look, I love real estate, and I want you to have a house, but I don't want a house to have you. That's why you need to get in touch with Churchill Mortgage to make sure you do this right. These guys are awesome. They'll help you get on a smarter mortgage plan because they're committed to doing what's right for you. That means they check in every year with free consultations to help you stay on the right plan. They show you how to save money and interest so you can build wealth faster. They walk you through the total cost of your loan so you can make the best choice. Basically, they care. That's why we call them Ramsey Trusted. You can achieve debt-free home ownership, and Churchill is here to help. Go to their site, churchillmortgage.com/Ramsey, to start your approval or get more information.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show, America. We're thrilled you're with us. This is where we talk about your life, your money, your work, your relationships. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by George Camel. It's the law firm of Camel and Coleman. We were talking about that the other day. If we were to have
it just sounds like a solid law firm.
It does. It really does. But rest assured, if you're brand new to the show, we give no legal advice at all.
No.
Just bad.
There's a reason we're here.
Just bad dad humor is what you're hearing right now. So let's get to the phones. Grand Rapids, Michigan is where Julie is. Julie, how can we help?
Hey, guys. I wanted to know if I should take the $4,000 I have in savings to pay off a leased vehicle that I have that we've leased.
Tell us more.
And it's about $24,000. Well, we had two lemons a couple years ago that were just sinkers when it came to our cash flow. So we ended up leasing, which I know is a very poor choice, but it's worked out better for us financially. And this vehicle that we have, we could go out and buy a newer vehicle or a different vehicle, but it's a $24,000 to just buy out this car.
That's the early buyout amount.
Yes. And we have $14,000 in savings, and then obviously our $1,000 emergency fund, but have no debt at all, except for our house.
So you've got 14 in savings. You have the 24,000 early buyout. How is it going to work?
Well, my husband just wants to put $5,000 down, $5,000 down and then take a loan, where I'm like, why don't we just do the $14,000 and then we don't have to take that as significant amount of a loan out.
So you're saying you would take out a $10,000 loan?
Yeah.
To cover the difference?
Yes.
Yeah, it beats 24,000. And then would you sell that car?
Well, I don't think so. I think we would keep it.
How quickly could you pay the $10,000 loan off?
I think within a year.
What's your household income?
$190.
Oh,
gross.
You could pay it off sooner than that.
You think it would take a year to pay off $10,000, making $190?
I know.
Where's your money going, Julie?
It's very expensive. 3 kids, Catholic schools. I don't know.
There it is. There it is. Julie, yeah. I'm so sorry that George yelled at you. George, there's no need to shout.
It's always the private school, Ken. You know this life. It's very...
No,
it's just
that's our boat and our cottage and everything else.
Oh, the boat and the cottage.
No. I just live in northern Michigan, and I'm always joking. We send our kids to Catholic schools, so that's our extra flow right there.
Okay. Yeah, the car is not too much value considering your income. The problem is kind of taking the shortcuts that have got us in this pickle here, in this brine cucumber, if you will.
Yes.
Nice.
You like that, Ken?
I do. I see what you did there.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, if you guys wanted to go down to your local credit union and get a personal loan and pay it off really, really, I don't want a year. I'm talking 2 months.
Okay.
Whatever you got to do. Making $190. Yeah. I mean, you guys are bringing $10K in every single month.
Yeah, we are.
So where is it going?
Okay.
Other than the private school, we got to make some sacrifices and some changes, at least temporarily, until we're completely out of debt. Because once you do that, Julie, you still don't have an emergency fund.
Yes.
And so we need to build that up really quickly.
Go back to that. I know, because our goal is like $30,000. And anyway.
Are you guys investing right now as well?
We are.
Okay. I would recommend you pause all investing. And remember, this is for a short period of time to give you as much margin as possible so that you're in paying for as little time as possible.
Okay.
What are you contributing in your investing each month? Do you know that number, a round number?
Well, I mean, I do my 401k. I mean...
How much is going to that?
19%.
Oh.
But it's kind of a long story. So my husband, we've owned businesses for like the last 10 years, which didn't bode well. So it was really my income, but now my husband has a good job. And so anyway, it's just been within the last 10 months that he's had a steady income. So we kind of are out of, I mean, we never really swimming in debt, but like we're finally at a good clip, if that makes sense. So I've always invested way more in my 401k because he didn't have any, retirement.
Well, the reason I asked you the question is because what George is saying, that's a real number. I want you, before we leave you on this call, I want you to understand why he's telling you to pause investing in your 401k. So how much are you contributing to the 401k each month, roughly?
19% equates to how many dollars?
I don't know. I would have to go. I think it's like 887.
Okay.
Actually,
You see how quickly you can pay
Now
off
we're
the
looking at
10,000?
almost another $1,000 you
Yeah.
can throw at this thing to get rid of it
Okay.
ASAP.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, I want you to catch that. It's great advice from George because you can quickly, with that amount of money, pay off the car and then jump right back into investing. And it's not like you're that far behind on investing, George. And so the amount of time she's taking off to pay off, it's not like she's
Agreed.
falling behind.
And Julie, I'm going to challenge you guys to not take out a personal loan, but to scrape together that $10,000 and just pay it off. With your 14,
Pay it off. Okay.
add 10 in the next 2 months, and then just pay it off. And then we're done with this thing. I think
Okay,
that's
that
going
makes
to go
sense.
faster than
Yeah.
you guys taking out another loan. Now we're moving the monopoly piece over here. So I think you got this. You know what to do. Now it's convincing your husband to do it too.
Oh, boy. That's the hard part. All right, let's stay on theme, shall we, George?
I like it.
Leighton is joining us in Clarksville, Tennessee, not too far from Ramsey World HQ. Leighton, how can we help?
So I've got a question. I'm 19 years old. I work for the City of Clarksville Gas and Water Department. I make about $40,000 a year salary. This year I should make about 45 to 50 with overtime. Now my question is, I've got a 2018 Dodge Ram, and it's I owe about $24,000 on it. Now the problem is, I don't have a problem paying it and, paying the insurance and all that. It's just I have a company vehicle. I have a government vehicle that I drive Monday through Friday, so it's hard to justify paying almost $600-700 a month with insurance and a truck note, to not drive it. And,
Now, can
and
you-
rarely drive it on the weekends.
So you're saying you don't even need a personal vehicle right now?
At the moment, no. The only reason I need the truck, and it's on the weekends, like I said, when I drive it on the weekends is when I pull my boat, and that's the only reason.
Well, we can get a cheaper boat puller. That's a real expensive way to do that.
Exactly. And see, I started at Gas and Water when I was 18.
Okay.
And so
Well,
I got the truck when I was 18.
what could you
I was
sell it
actually
for?
still in high school.
You owe 24. What could it sell for today, private sale?
Well, private, Kelly Blue Book marks it at about 26 or 27.
I love it.
But I had it appraised, and they only offered. Now it was kind of like it wasn't a well-known dealership.
Yeah, a
Well,
dealership appraised it?
Leighton, dealerships are never going to appraise it at the actual value you can sell it to somebody on the market. Kelly Blue Book is where you're going.
Okay.
So sell it, private seller, sell it, Facebook Marketplace, whatever.
Auto Trader, whatever you gotta do.
whatever. Get it out there and sell it, and you're going to pay it off just like that, and you have a little extra.
You got any money in savings?
I'm working on baby step one. I have a 1.5-year-old, and then my fiance stays at home with her. I live with my parents, so I have no other bills, and I have a very small credit card that I'm going to pay off. Planning on this month, it's only $300.
Okay, any other debt?
Nope, that's it. I have no other bills other than that.
Okay, I have one final question for you. Does it have a Hemi?
No, it does not.
Okay.
Well, that's good, Leighton, because George has no idea what that even means.
I just know
He
Dodge.
has no idea what that
It's
means.
a fun thing to say.
Hey, Leighton, here's the deal. Sell the truck.
I'm selling it.
And with the extra, you can pay off the credit card. And you ready for this? If my numbers are right, Leighton, and George, correct me, he sells the truck, makes $2,000 to $3,000 on it. He pays off the credit card bill of $300, and he finishes his baby step one.
Yeah.
Gets that $1,000 in the bank, and you're off and running, my friend.
And then you're a baby step 3. If you get rid of the credit card, now we got an emergency fund. Now we can save up and get a personal car down the road. But that's a lot of truck, making $40K, and the truck's worth $28.
What does he
So,
do, George?
Get a cheaper truck. Maybe go for a $15,000, $20,000 boat puller later on down the road, my friend.
Love it. Gotta love the corporate car or the government
Sweet
vehicle.
gig.
It's good stuff. All right, folks, tell you what else is great. You and your calls, they're lined up. Don't move. More of The Ramsey Show coming up.
If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular, and roller shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by George Kamel. It is a free call for you to jump into the conversation, 888-825-5225. Of course, we're going to talk about your money, but we talk about other areas of your life as well, certainly relating to your money. One is work, and we look at your income as your greatest wealth-building tool, a bigger shovel, if you will, to get out of debt or to save for that house down payment or saving for your kids' college and so on and so forth. So I am the work guy, if you want to call me that. No overalls today, George.
I would love to see
or
you
coveralls.
You'd rock them.
Whichever you choose. But I'll take your work questions. If you feel stuck or if you're wondering, should I take a promotion? Should you quit your job? Any work-related questions, income-related questions to work, I'm here to help on those as well. And, of course, George in the shotgun seat today with all of the money questions. So it is time for our Blinds question of the day. You need to find out for yourself why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Make sure that you use the promo code Ramsey to get the best deal.
Today's question comes from Dan in Massachusetts. I'm finishing up my degree in accounting with absolutely $0 in debt and can get my CPA license to work at a big company soon. However, I'm also considering law school, which would cost around $300,000, not including interest. The starting salary for some lawyers can be $210,000 in my city. However, for accountants at big firms, that salary can take around 5 to 6 years to get, while law school would only be about 3 years to complete. Is it financially worth the trade-off to go into debt if it will increase my income faster, or should I stay with my accounting degree and increase my salary at a slower pace?
Well, these kind of questions are always very nuanced and very difficult to answer, in a back and without the back and forth. I don't have Dan on the phone. So I'll dive into the considering law school. Why are you considering law school? Are you considering law school because of the sheer financial difference that you see here? It tends to, the tone of his question, George, leads me to believe that he's thinking of law school primarily for money reasons. And I would always caution against that. I'd want to know, why did you choose to go into accounting? Do you love the work? Does the work create results that matter to you? And I got to tell you, the $300,000, George, I'm passionate about this. You should never pursue a law degree when you'd have to go into debt $300,000 to that school. Here's why. Quick context. Several years ago, I had the opportunity to interview a lawyer on the Ken Coleman Show, based in Houston, went to Vanderbilt, very high-end school here in Nashville. And he realized after the fact that he could have kept taking the LSAT, got his GPA and his LSAT score to a certain point where he could have gotten free rides to smaller, lesser known, less prestigious law schools. Okay, but you don't think that, and largely you don't know that. And so in this situation, a law degree is a law degree unless you get it out of a Frosted Flakes box. Right?
Yeah.
And so I just would not be thinking about this kind of money. I would be trying to get a free ride to a smaller law school if, in giant caps, if law is what you really want to pursue. But to pursue a law degree because you go, well, I can make a little bit more money faster than I could as an accountant. An accountant has just as much opportunity to move up into a C-suite opportunity later on. So I'd want to know those things before I decided.
Oh, absolutely. And his verbiage here, the starting salary for some lawyers can be $210,000 in my city. I've got friends who are lawyers, and they went into deeply in debt for their degrees, and they're making $65K doing immigration law or some types that aren't at these big firms.
That's true.
So this idea that you're just going to have a high six-figure salary as soon as you leave law school is also a farce. So don't believe that lie. And if it means, hey, I'm going to have this kind of salary in 5 years, that's great. If you love accounting, stick with accounting. Never get a degree just for the paycheck.
See, the paycheck wears off, George.
Well, and how many lawyers do we have out there that are resenting ever having gone to law school, that didn't make it, who still have their student loans to pay off, or who are doing it going, I want to jump into a different field. This is not what I thought it was going to be. I'm burnt out. I'm doing 80-hour weeks at firms that don't care about me. So this all points to the issue of higher education, the student loan crisis, which we delved into with our documentary, Borrowed Future. And what's cool is we're celebrating the 1-year anniversary, Ken, of the Borrowed Future launch, and we're going to premiere the film on YouTube for the very first time.
Very exciting.
Monday, October 17th, 7 p.m. Central, we're going to have a watch party on YouTube. So you can go to our Ramsey Show highlights channel and hit notify me, and that'll be your RSVP there. And this is our award-winning documentary, if you didn't know about it, that uncovers the dark side of the student loan industry. Every high schooler needs to watch this. Every parent needs to watch this. You've got to share this with people in your life that you care about. And you can follow the watch party on October 17th. You can view it on YouTube for free, on demand. Beyond that, of course, with ads, if it's on YouTube. So
here's what Borrowed Future does, folks. It shows you multiple stories that really illustrate the question we just read. This idea that the law degree is this, this magical ticket, and what it really is a carrot. And it's dangling, and it's tempting, and it says one thing, and it does something completely different. It wrecks lives when you cannot afford to pay it back.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a nightmare. You're going to see these nightmares in living color. It is a jarring, but also hope-filled documentary. We're very, very proud of it.
A lot
I have
of
to
mixed
ask,
emotions.
The watch parties. I mean, you're hanging out here at the offices on a couch with popcorn.
I tried to get Deloney and I to hang out and get some popcorn. I don't think he was interested. But if you are, I'm happy to show up at the Coleman's house.
Oh, so as long as it's at my house and I don't have to go anywhere.
Just your back patio.
They're just going to bring cameras in, and then are they live?
They're going to film our reaction.
Are they
the whole
filming
time.
us like Mystery Science Theater commenting?
We would have to pay people to watch that. It's the opposite effect.
I don't think that's true. I think the people would love for us to be piped in a little small window, and we were commenting on things. We could hit press pause. We could press pause and go on a rant. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, my goodness.
Plus, I think people would want to know what kind of popcorn you would eat versus the popcorn that I would eat, which is?
I'm going with something a little healthier. Not the one that's sopping from the microwave with the movie theater butter. I've got standards in my life, Ken.
I know. What would it be? You're probably the light pot guy.
Yeah,
what do I see around
the office? It's organic. I'm going to do my own salt on there. Very bougie.
See, I'm going Orville Redenbacher. I'm a man of the people. Extra movie butter. When I pull my hands out, you could see the butter kind of trickling down the side of my finger. See, I'm a man of the people.
No thanks, Tom Hanks.
George wants corn with a story. It was free range.
Yes.
It had a life.
I want it on the stove. I want to be a Little House on the Prairie making my popcorn from scratch.
I want it to make my belly feel good. That's all I care about.
Not what it's going to do.
You got too much thinking going on.
Well, popcorn or not, I want everyone to watch this, and it
is
really
going to be fun. The watch party, hit the details again. It's going to be great fun on YouTube.
October 17th, 7 p.m. Central. It's a Monday night. You can watch it on YouTube for free for the premiere, and then beyond that, we're going to have it with ads, of course, on YouTube for free. You can still watch it without ads on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Google Play, RamseySolutions.com. You can rent it there for just a few bucks. But this has started to disrupt this toxic student loan industry and all the pieces involved, the guidance counselors, the parents, the colleges who have been raising prices at an insane rate. And so we dig into all that. There's stories of heartbreak. There's inspiring stories of folks who did it debt-free, including our friend Christina Ellis.
That's exactly right. By the way, this documentary is right in the center of what I believe are two perfect storms that are coming. And let me tell you what the storm is creating. There's a different tide, if you will, George, a wave coming in. And I just put this on my Instagram account. College enrollment is down nearly 10% over the last 2 years. Only 51% of Gen Z teens, George, are considering a 4-year degree. That's a 20-point drop since May 2020. The college is the only way to succeed wave is going out, and the no degree required wave is coming in.
Ooh.
And this is the situation, because here's what we're seeing with young kids. On their own, they're saying, I don't know if the time or the money is worth it to do what it is that I want to do. These kids
absolutely.
are sharper than we give them credit for. So you take that, the legitimacy and credibility of the degree being questioned by young kids, and then the overwhelming, crushing cost of tuition, stressing parents out, and the student loan crisis, all of those two storms coming together, watch out, higher ed. Ramsey Solutions is right there in the middle to help you out. This is The Ramsey Show. This is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about life, specifically your money, your work, your relationships. So if someone offered you a career that you love, that allowed you to show up every day and use what you do best to do work that you love, to produce results that matter deeply to you, all for a $10 bill, would you do it, George? $10 for that kind of clarity?
I can't speak for America, but that's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, well, good news. For the first time ever, you can get my Get Clear career assessment for only $10. This assessment gives you customized feedback to help you finally get clear on the talents you bring to the workplace. What work really fires your heart up, and then what results motivate you every day. Then it takes all that info, gives you professional possibilities, and fills out a purpose statement for you based on those unique talents, passions, and mission, and allows you to have a 50,000 foot view of a job description so that you can look for, find, and do work that you love. Thousands of people who felt stuck took the assessment and got life-changing results. One of our 5-star reviewers, Greg, said the results were as if you knew me my whole life. You really opened my eyes to my potential and purpose. It only takes about 20 minutes, and now through the end of the month of October, it is only $10 at RamseySolutions.com. This deal will not last. The $10 deal is one you should take. The Get Clear Career Assessment, $10 at RamseySolutions.com.
Here's how I look at it, Ken.
How do you
to afford an hour of consulting with you over some coffee, it'd be astronomical. But I can get AI, Ken, through this Get Clear assessment, and you'd walk me through the same exact things you would if we were in person.
It's true. It's actually true. Really proud of the tool. Helped tens of thousands of people. And, you know, what I've learned, George, and you know this in your life, you and I have very similar career journeys. The circumstances different, but the characteristics very similar. And when you get clear, it's amazing how confident you become. But absent of clarity, you kind of are always holding back, a little bit paralyzed. And this tool is designed to give people real clarity on to say that, hey, I could do this, or this. There's more than one dream job for people. And this assessment.
And the assessment gives you exact roles that could be a fit for you, and it starts to get you dreaming.
Yeah, get you looking and get you doing, more importantly. So there you go. Check it out, RamseySolutions.com, to Get Clear assessment. Harper's Ferry, West Virginia is where we go next. Lacey is on the line there. Lacey, how can we help?
Hi, thanks so much for taking my call. I just have a quick question. My husband and I got married last December. I'm 29 and he's 39. I have a Roth IRA with a few thousand already in it, and we're making his soon. We both have Roth 401ks, but I'm concerned with whose IRA do we put the rest of our 15% contributions into? My already established, his brand new one? Do we split it? Is him being older matter? That's what I need help with.
So he has a new one that has $0 in it, or is there some in there already?
It is brand new, 0.
Okay. Would you be maxing both of these out, or is there too much? You don't have enough income to do that at this point.
We would not be maxing them out. So one of ours would have to be maxed out, and we'd have a little left over.
Okay.
So if we maxed his out, we could put the rest in mine. I wasn't sure the priority.
Yeah, at that point, the IRS sees the IRAs all the same. You guys file jointly?
Yes.
Okay. So it doesn't really matter. They're going to grow at the same rate. If I put 1,000 in a brand new one, or I put 1,000 in one you've had for years, the 1,000 is going to grow at the same rate if it has the same funds in it. And so from a mathematical standpoint, it doesn't matter. So I would just keep it simple. I would max one out, and then whatever's left over, throw it in the other one.
Okay. But him being older than me, it really doesn't matter, because that was what I was thinking. Since he's 10 years older, he'll get access to it sooner than I would. But
sure, he will have access to it sooner, but you're not going to take all the money out at once, potentially, right?
Correct. No.
So you're going to leave it in there. And you can talk about that with a SmartVestor Pro and work on that kind of long-term strategy. Hey, if we do this bucket first, then we do this bucket, then we can move over here. We can do a bridge account with a brokerage if we want to retire early, and then use that money until we can have access to the Roth IRAs. They are really great about mapping out a big long-term game plan about how that would work out. But from a mathematical perspective today, it doesn't matter. So if you could withdraw money from yours later on, and it's the same as if he withdrew money from his, because it's all your money.
No, you're right. I didn't think about it that way. You answered my question. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
We did it. We at least answered one today, if nothing else.
George, don't ever, ever, ever sell yourself short.
I appreciate that.
You got good advice. You got good advice. It's what you do.
Thank you, Ken.
Don't act so surprised.
Wow.
All right, next in Springfield, Massachusetts, David is on the line. David, how can we help?
All right, good to talk to you today. I'll give you a very quick rundown. I'm 54, no debt except for the mortgage. That balance is $130,000, and I am fixed at 2.9. I'm receiving an inheritance, like about $280,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm all the way up there. That skyrocketed me right up to baby step 6/7. I'm retiring in about 6 to 7 years. I've got my 15% in the Roth TSP. I'm a government employee, so with a Roth 401k. And a lot of folks are telling me, do not pay off your mortgage, especially at 2.9. Invest that, and in 5 years at whatever, 4, 5, 6%, then just pay it off with the earnings. So I know what Dave Ramsey says, but what should I do?
So Dave's not here today, so he wants to know what George says.
Well, I don't stray away from Dave's advice on this one, and the truth is what they're doing is they're starry-eyed, and if everything goes perfectly, and if the market is up 20%, have you seen the market, David?
I certainly have.
How depressed would you be if you put that inheritance into the market 6 months ago, and now you're looking at it going, oh my gosh, I still have to make a mortgage payment, and I already lost $50,000 in the market.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too good, no.
And on top of that, these are taxable accounts you're talking about, so you're going to have to pay taxes on that. And so there's a lot of, we could go through the list of why, but at the end of the day, this is your money. Your friends don't pay your mortgage for you every month. And so the question is, what would David do without a mortgage payment? What kind of life could he live? How much earlier could he retire? Could it be 4 years instead of 7? Because he doesn't have a mortgage payment, and now he can invest like a madman. And he sleeps better at night on top of that because he doesn't owe anyone anything.
And right. So and the guys at church are the ones telling me to pay off the mortgage.
Oh, look at that. So those who have the faith perspective, they understand Proverbs 22:7, the borrower is slave to the lender.
That's right.
There you go.
Right.
I mean, that's a whole other angle there. But I truly think that a life without debt is just a more peaceful life. And on paper, you can justify why you should invest in the market, and you can move things around and do some tricky things over here. But at the end of the day, your life is valuable, and it's going to be even more peaceful and more joyful when you have more margin. And that's what getting rid of the mortgage is.
it's still okay if I don't get the tax breaks, not having the mortgage.
The tax
interest,
breaks,
whatever.
if they want to talk tax breaks, they're just terrible at math because you're giving $1 to the lender to get a quarterback from the government.
Yeah. Have you run the actual numbers, David? Because I think people say that, and it makes total sense when there are no numbers applied to it.
And you only get the tax break if you're itemizing with the new tax laws. And so beyond that, you're going to send $10,000 to a lender so that you can get $2,200 off of your taxes. Yeah. That makes no sense.
The amount of money you will save and invest by not having a mortgage payment is what you should be focused on. What is your gut telling you to do, despite the non-church friends and then the church friends? What do you think you should do?
I always feel better being free.
Then pay your house off, David. Forget what everybody else says.
Do what's right for David.
WWDD. That's what would David do? Do it. You agree with us. We agree with you. You're going to feel so much better about
it. Bada bing, bada boom, house is paid off. Just like that. It's that simple.
Wow, George. You went from Church George to Jersey George. I like that.
That could be a new show.
Very good. All right. Hey, George Campbell, thank you, sir. Great hour.
Good times.
Thanks to the crew behind the glass, and thanks to you, America. This is The Ramsey Show. Hey folks, Ken Coleman here. Did you know The Ramsey Show is one of the most popular podcasts in the world? Get your daily dose of advice on life and money. Check out all of our shows from the Ramsey Network wherever you listen to podcasts. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio. This is The Ramsey Show. It's where we talk about your life, specifically your money, your work, and your relationships. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by George Campbell this hour. The phone number is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. George here to answer the specifics of money. I'll weigh in, and then I'm here to answer any specifics on your work life in a toxic environment, afraid to get out of it because you're in the baby steps. Can I move through the baby steps and change jobs? Can I get qualified for something else while in the baby steps? We'll take on those type of questions and more. Let's get to it. Denver, Colorado. Chelsea is there. Chelsea, how can we help?
Thank you for having me on the show today. I'm really excited.
Good.
I'll get to my question. My husband is wanting to change industries, and we were wondering if we should use our emergency fund to pay for schooling for him to change careers.
Okay. Is it an emergency?
Kind of. I would say actually yes, to the point that he needs to get away from where he is at on the verge of possibly depression in his work environment.
Okay. What is specifically going on at the work environment?
So he is just kind of getting talked down to, being told that he needs to work hours outside of the normal work hours. Anything he says is getting thrown back onto him, and then he tries to change it. It's not getting fixed, and it just seems that if the boss doesn't want to work with him anymore.
Got it. And how much does he make? Is it salary or hourly position?
He is salary.
How much is he make?
And he, I don't know what it comes out to yearly, but he makes about $40 an hour.
Okay. And the training that he wants to get and that you two have agreed that he needs to get, what is that and what does it cost and what is it going to allow him to do, to move into?
So this is where we wanted to call in and see your guys' opinion on the best decision to do this. He's currently in the HVAC industry and has decided he wants to go into the trucking industry. So he will need to get his CDL license. Schooling is 2 weeks, and it comes out to $5,800. for the full course and for the test that needs to be taken.
Okay. Do you guys have any debt?
Only our mortgage.
Okay, great. All right. I got all the facts. Are you ready, Chelsea?
I'm not
What's
sure.
going?
Yes,
yeah, I know, right? You're kind of like, oh boy, what he's going through at work sucks, but it's not an emergency. He needs to keep his big boy pants on. He needs to put up with it. He needs to grit and bear it, is an old phrase that I would use here. This is not an emergency. I don't think it's to the point of even, toxic to where, and I don't make light of the fact that he's almost depressed and that it is a depressing situation. I would agree with that. However, he has a path out in the form of a 2-week $5,800 training course, and there's such a need in trucking that if he does a really good job, he can get paid really well and move up. And so we have a way out. So there's no reason to be despondent and depressed. But I would put up with it until we are ready to step into the trucking job, and we need that income to come up with the $5,800 because you guys can scrape it together. I don't think this is an emergency, so I wouldn't use the emergency fund for it. I really wouldn't. But okay. In this case, you guys can figure this out. He makes really good money. You can sacrifice in some other areas. You could sell some things. He could work on the weekends or nights. Right now is a wonderful part-time, what they call gig economy, where you can go, you're not in some contract, you're not doing another full-time job. My point is $5,800, you guys could cash flow that and never touch your emergency fund, and that's what I'm going to tell you to do.
Okay. And then would you still decide doing that if the schooling is the same hours of a work day and his current job, he can't work evenings? Is it better to find something to work evenings to get through schooling?
Yes.
And
you said this is 2 weeks, right?
It's 2 weeks. How could we plan for that? I mean, does he have 2 weeks vacation?
It wouldn't start until the new year.
All right, George, let's walk through this. If it's me, I'm trying to figure out, okay, we don't want an interruption in income unless you guys could you, if he were to resign and for 2 weeks.
Now, there's no guaranteed job at the end of the 2 weeks, correct?
Correct.
So we need to wait until we have the other job lined up, the offer's accepted, before we jump ship from this one.
Well, and George brings up a good point, and I should have been clear. I'm assuming that he's going to go get a job. A trucking job.
There's a great need.
And say, hey, I'm if you hire me, I'll go get the training. Like I would assume that that's a possibility. He should be thinking about that, not just I'm going to go get my CDL license and then go look for the job. I don't think you have to do it in that order.
Has he talked to anyone in the trucking industry, Chelsea?
He just. I think he just talked to one gentleman. A lot of them are looking for like 1 year. So for decent pay. So even if he goes into this industry, he'll go in as entry level. So there would be a massive pay cut.
My worry is the grass is not greener on the other side. And he's jumping in this because he's depressed and he's going, well, I guess trucking, I can make good money and it's quick. I can do the training quickly. But my worry is he gets into this and trucking's hard. I mean, if you've talked to people who drive trucks, it is not an easy life or a sustainable one long term. And so I just want him to make sure he knows what he's stepping into if this is a passion of his versus, well, this is easy money, it gets me out of a toxic place. There are places he can work in HVAC that are not toxic. I know because we meet them at our Entree Leadership events. They run amazing companies, and they're great leaders.
Does he want to drive a truck?
He does.
All right,
he did it before.
Okay, now again, I'm not going to try to apply this to everybody, but the trucking industry right now is in a 4-alarm dumpster fire trying to find truckers. I think you guys need to do a whole lot more research and a whole lot more talking. Just to give you an idea, and I don't know if the Walmart trucking job is available to you, but Walmart is starting truckers in the 90,000 range.
Oh, okay.
And if he's got experience,
we do need to do a little bit more research.
You guys need. Let me tell you something. I report on this stuff almost on a weekly basis on the Ken Coleman Show about the need for truckers. They are expediting training. This whole you got to have a year's experience of driving. That's not necessarily the case in most places. So let's look at the universe of opportunities near you all. And then we decide what we're going to do.
I like getting through the end of the year, scraping together the $6,000. January hits, he uses vacation time, does the training by cash flowing it.
That's right.
Bada bing, bada boom.
There it is, George. It's your sound. It's become your thing.
It's my theme now.
We call him Jersey George. He just gives it to you straight. I don't know. Anyway.
What are we doing, Ken?
I don't know what you're doing.
Well, let's
but
stick
I
to
will
the
tell you
calls.
this. Make sure that you have a plan. Here's the lesson from that last call. Make sure you have a plan before we jump. No need to jump. Let's walk. This is The Ramsey Show.
Life is full of firsts. As the first and longest-serving Christian health cost-sharing ministry, CHM has shared medical expenses for its members since 1981. We believe you should have the freedom to focus on your health while being supported by a community of believers, giving you the opportunity to create many more firsts.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. George Campbell joins me. It is a free phone call for you to jump in and talk about your life. 888-825-5225. 888-825-5225. If you got any work calls, I want George to jump in on some of these. You got a toxic work environment. You need a little advice. Maybe we'll change your name. We'll change your name, your location, if it's sensitive. I want George to weigh in on some of these.
I love that.
You know?
It riles me up to hear about this toxic work culture, and I host the Entree Leadership Podcast.
Yes, you do.
So we're helping leaders grow in that area because there's a leadership crisis in America today as well, and a lot of this stems from that.
Yep, it sure does. So jump in, 888-825-5225. First, we'll get to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Annabelle is there. Annabelle, how can we help?
Hi. Okay, so about 6 months ago, my husband and I sold a house, bought a house, and bought a new vehicle. And then probably 2 months after that, we started listening to the Dave Ramsey Show, and we got super excited about paying down our mortgage and becoming debt-free. So we set up a budget, and now that we have our budget, we're realizing there's not a lot left at the end of every month to attack the mortgage with. We would have done things differently if we had gone in with your philosophy, but we didn't. So in our current situation, I'm just curious if you guys have any things that you would change, that we should go back and do differently, or going forward, what we can do to pay down our mortgage quickly.
I love it. Well, I'm so glad you guys are on board. You're doing a budget. There's a lot of good things happening here. Now, when you said you bought the new vehicle, was that in cash or do you have a loan on it?
We did buy it in cash. So we took out $130,000 from the sale of our home, and we put 20% down on our new property, and then we bought the vehicle in cash.
Great. Okay, so you don't have any debt except for the mortgage.
Yes, that's correct.
And you've got a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses?
We do.
Awesome. And so when you look at your budget, where are the biggest ticket items that are eating up this income?
So honestly, the new house, we purchased one that our mortgage is $2,000 a month, and my husband brings home $6,000. So, I mean, we have extra for sure, and we can absolutely afford our payments, but that takes a lot. And then we just weren't thinking about, the extra electric and gas and water bills, all of the other things that come with a bigger home.
Sure.
So that takes quite a bit of it.
And you guys are investing 15% of your income into retirement?
We are. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 33% of your income is going towards the mortgage, a little higher than I'd like. We recommend 25% on a 15-year. Did you get a 30-year mortgage?
We did, yes.
Okay. So this is a big old mortgage.
It is. We're trying to right now we're putting $400 extra a month into it. And
on
we'd
top
like
of
that
the
to grow.
so it's a $2,000 mortgage. You're putting $2,400 a month on it.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. I told my husband, we listen to your show and we're both like encouraged and discouraged at the same time because we're both hard workers. We want to like do what it takes. I feel like we've cut down our expenses quite a bit. What's tricky is our season of life is so busy. My husband is in a busy job already, so he doesn't have time to really take on extra work, but his career will continue to grow and hopefully make more money. I stay at home with our 2 kids and I do a little bit of tutoring on the side, but like, I just already feel exhausted in what we do have going on. So I don't see us, at least right now, being able to take on a ton of extra work to make more money. But that's a question, too, of like, where's the balance there? Because I could take on more tutoring jobs or do extra things if I needed to.
Sure. Well, there's only 2 ways money flows, in and out. And so we can increase income. Ken can help you in that area. If your husband, could be making more in his current role, what does he do for work?
He's a CPA.
Okay. So the question is, how can we get him from going from $72,000 take home to $100,000 take home? And now we've got an extra $30K we can throw at the mortgage every year. That would speed it up.
Right.
And so that's one area. Yeah. The other area is spending less. And so that's on the outgo. I would go through your budget. Are you guys using every dollar right now or something different?
Oh, we just set it up on our own, so we're not using every dollar.
Okay. I'm happy to gift that to you guys for a year and see if you like that better, see if you see any changes there. It's great. You can drag your transactions in to track it all and get on a plan there. But the other side is auditing your budget. This means going through every single thing with a fine-tooth comb going, are we doing the best we can? Are we overpaying for insurance? We haven't checked it in 5 years. We should shop around with Xander and see if we can shave off $20 here. You know what? We're using these 4 subscriptions out of the 15 that we're paying for. Let's shave those off for a season and see what that does for our budget. And you know what? We've been a little lackadaisical in the food area. We could be better about meal planning and not eating out as much. Maybe we cut the appetizers and the drinks. Maybe we do takeout. So you got to go into every area of the budget and decide where are we willing to sacrifice and compromise so that we can have more margin to pay off this house early.
Okay, so I have one other question that goes off of that.
Okay.
We give 10% to our church in tithe, but when we lived at our previous house, my husband's income was way above what we were spending on our mortgage, so we had quite a bit of extra cash, and we gave, I think, $350 a month above that towards additional, like a charity that goes to the poor and things like that.
Sure.
So now that we're in our new house, I recommended putting that towards our budget or towards our mortgage, and my husband would like to keep it, that extra gift, towards what we were already doing. He's super generous. So I'm on board with him, but I mean, what do you guys think of that? Is it okay to keep giving extra in that way, or is it better to knock out your debt while it's so big?
I am in the boat that generosity is never a bad thing, and so I would keep that because it keeps your hand more open when you realize, you know what, this money is not just for us, it's to bless others, and that's the most fun we can have with money. So if you're doing it out of reluctancy, we've got to do a heart check there and go, well, maybe we should be giving us something we're more passionate about if we're just doing this to check a box. But if something that you guys are passionate about, I'm not going to cut giving an offering from that area. I would much rather cut it from somewhere else. I'd rather cut a subscription before I do it from generosity. So I would sit down with your husband this weekend and go through with a fine-tooth comb everything and go, are we getting a good, we need to call the cable because they upped the bill and we never really fought it. And so let's fight to get that down $10. And if you do that in every area, it's amazing what happens. You'll go, oh my gosh, we just found $1,000 on our budget because we started getting really intentional.
Yeah. And then I just want to go back to, you and your husband need to have a conversation about kind of a vision casting conversation about what he could do. Where could he grow in the next year, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years? Because the income piece is a huge part of this. And once you get control of the outflow, then the idea of him as an accountant, there's a lot of different directions he can go. It is a wonderful career path in the ability for him to have several different ways that he could go off of that core skill set and that experience. And so I would challenge him as well to go, okay, what can I do to raise my income substantially over the next 3, 5, 7 years? And I believe he can.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
all right. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys got this. I mean,
doing great.
We do talk a lot about money and getting control of your money, but I just want to point out, not because I talk about work every day, but I really want people to understand for decades, Dave has said, your income is your greatest wealth building tool. And the idea of increasing your income it is way more possible than people think. But I want to challenge our audience, because I think a lot of people hear that and go, okay, yeah, it makes sense, Dave, or yeah, Ken, we get it. All right. But I think more people than I think will admit it. They're comfortable where they are. And they're like, I'm gazelle intense, I'm working the baby steps, and the idea of changing jobs or the idea of getting some additional qualification or upskilling to be able to make more money. And then, oh gosh, if I do that, then I feel like I got to change and go into a new company or a new position. It's all too, uncomfortable, because it has to do with change and the unknown.
Oh yeah.
And I just want to point that out, that you can't forget that we live in the greatest economy, the greatest country in the world, and you can climb the ladder. And what if you were using the baby steps and making more money at the same time?
And if you've done everything you can to cut down on that budget, a lot of the times it's easier to go out and make $5,000 more than it is to shave off another $5,000 a year off the budget.
Right.
And so that's another place you got to dig into.
If you do both, what you described, and then I'm saying, how can I increase my income? We talk a lot about compound interest. How about compound impact, George?
Oh, whoa.
Okay, I'm serious. Where I'm getting control of my money and reducing my expenses and living on less than I make, but I'm also increasing what I make for the big picture.
I love that.
It can be done. We're not going anywhere. How about you call in and we help you as well? This is The Ramsey Show.
I say it all the time. If you're a business owner and you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. And when markets are shifting, it's even more important. You've got to know where you stand so you make your next move the right move. And you don't have to be in the dark here. Over 31,000 businesses, including my team at Ramsey, know their numbers because they use NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control of your financials, planning, budgeting, and inventory so you can manage risk, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Having everything in one place has saved my team hours each week since we made the switch to NetSuite. NetSuite is a game changer. So head on over to netsuite.com/Ramsey to get a product tour today. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey.
This is The Ramsey Show, America. I'm Ken Coleman. George Campbell joins me. We're so excited that you are with us. Every time you hear or see someone do a debt-free scream on this show, it's because at some point they said, I've had it. I'm not going to live like this anymore. And when you get mad like that and do what they did, your life will change too. Right now, inflation and your credit cards are killing you. You've been led to believe that you're not in control of your money, but that's wrong. You have to decide to control what you can control. That's you, your behavior. And Financial Peace University will walk you through a proven step-by-step plan that's helped nearly 10 million people beat debt, master budgeting, and build wealth. And you can join the throng. Stop letting debt and money stress control your life. Say, I've had it, and take back control. Start Financial Peace University at RamseySolutions.com/FPU. That's RamseySolutions.com/FPU. Austin, Texas is where we go next. Gavin is there. Gavin, how can we help?
Thanks for taking my call. So I'm on baby step number 2, and I was just curious. My last piece of debt is my Tesla. I have $19,000 left on it, but the part I'm torn on is I don't want to sell it because I have free charging where I'm at, and with the little to no maintenance that the car provides, it's actually very comparable to the cash flow if I had a $10,000 gas car, for example. So I was wondering what Dave and you guys would recommend. Should I sell the car, pay off my last piece of debt today, Or should I keep the Tesla at the 2.49% interest rate and just try to pay it down as fast as possible?
All right. So what's your income?
So I'm a real estate agent, and my income varies quite a bit. The last year to date, I've made $100,000 already. Some months will be 25 to 30 grand, and other months could be as little as 2 to 3 grand. So it's very variable.
Okay, but on average, you're saying in a year you're going to make 6 figures.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what is the Tesla worth?
So the Tesla on Kelley Blue Book today says a private party would pay $40,000. So I have about $21,000 in equity in it. So I could easily sell it and buy a $10,000 or $15,000 gas car. I also have free charging where I currently live, and I save about $600 to $700 a month not paying for gas, and the car payment's $580 and has 3 years left.
You're spending $700 on gas a month if you had a gas car?
Yeah, that's what the app says.
Well, I don't know if I trust the app, and this is coming from a Tesla owner. But laying out the numbers, I don't do anything for the gas savings. The numbers here don't shock me. So you make over $100K, the car's worth $40K, that's reasonable, you're making good money in real estate. Why not just aggressively pay it off?
That's what I'm planning on. I was just a little torn because if I sold it today, I could be debt-free today, and I could probably pay it off in the next 3 to 6 months is my goal. Also, with the interest rates increasing and business having slowed down considerably, I don't know if I'm going to be making $100K the next year. It just kind of depends on how things work out since it's very commission-based.
So you're in baby step 2. How much money do you have in the bank right now?
I don't have that much. I have a couple grand in the savings, and my plan was to, either start increasing that savings to the 3 to 6 month or be aggressively paying off the car. But I was a little bit torn since, like I said, I could pay it off today and just be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, you love the Tesla, I'm guessing, right?
Of course. Yeah, I slept on the decision for about 3 years before I bought it. I did tons of homework. I understand it from the ground up. I work with a lot of Tesla clients. I've been to the Tesla rodeo when they opened up the factory here, so I'm very ingrained.
You're super fan.
Kind of
I think you just pay it off aggressively. The next 20 grand commission check you get, be done with it. And don't go, well, I'll put $3 grand on it because I really want to build it. No, now's the time to pay off debt. I would take everything except $1,000, throw it at the car. This is time to really get aggressive at this thing. And the next few commission checks you get, be done with it. And then save your 3 to 6 months of expenses. But no, nothing's pointing to you got to go sell the car.
Okay. Awesome.
Now, but
really
it's not for the gas savings. I think that's a great perk. But I'm doing it because it's not a huge part of your world, and you can pay it off quickly. If you're going to tell me it's going to take me 3 years, 4 years to pay this thing off with my income, and it's a $50,000 Tesla, and I make $40,000, I go sell it today. You're broke. But that's not the situation here.
Okay, that makes total sense. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just one little challenge on the work side of things. I understand the real estate market is in some ways slowing down. There's no question about that. But I wouldn't accept that. If I was in a situation like that, I wouldn't go, okay, well, the market is what the market is. I would be planning. I would be looking at, okay, what can I do? What kind of pipeline do I need to have in order to keep up the pace that I've kept up in the past? I wouldn't accept that, well, the market is what the market is. You can still sell houses in this market.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I just heard a tinge of that, and I want to challenge that.
A tinge of pessimism.
Yeah.
With interest rates going up and the market cooling off.
I would call it excusism.
Oh.
It's not a word, but I just made it a word. It's like, well, I can't pay it off as fast as I like because no. To your point, pay the thing off.
Yeah, and if real estate slows down, go get a side gig.
Yeah.
You can always make money.
Yeah.
There you go.
By the way, that app and the $700 on, come on.
I don't buy it.
That's a little outrageous. What app was that?
The Tesla app.
Well, of course they're saying that.
That's what I was telling him.
It's all
they're
hype.
Yeah.
Elon's no idiot. He's juicing the numbers because he doesn't want you to get rid of it.
Now, to Gavin's point, I get free charging at work as well, Ken. So there's a sweet perk. Thanks, Dave. And I park right next to Dave just to make him angry as he drives in his Raptor.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well,
his car could eat mine for breakfast. It would be like a snack to his Raptor. But it's fun.
I hope one day he accidentally just drives over your car. You know what I mean? He's like turning into the spot, and he doesn't realize, and he cut it too close, and he just goes, oh, it's George's Tesla.
I tell you this, it would either be accidental or very intentional.
Oh, I think it would be accidental at first, but then he'd roll it off as intentional. You're like, well, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
There you go, George. Here's a plug.
Thank you.
Here's a check and a plug. Go get yourself another electric toy.
Well, and Rachel parks next to me, and so for his own daughter to drive that thing, that really bothers him.
It's too much. I don't want to live my life trying to find the next freaking outlet. All right? I have too much stress in my own house
We
trying
have a
to
gas
plug
car
stuff
at the Camel House. My wife drives one, so road trips, we take the SUV. It's no big deal.
Yeah, it's
not a problem.
I don't like it. Let's go to Kelly next in New York City, New York. Kelly, how can we help?
Hi. Thank you very much for taking my call.
You bet. What's up?
I'm calling because I invested in a startup company. And the amount that I've invested, I only had 25% left to be paid off. However, I'm working 2 full-time jobs to pay this bill. My sister has generously offered to pay off the remaining balance. I don't think I should do that because I could probably have this paid off by January.
So why not just pay it off and say, thank you, sister, for your generosity, but I got this one. Because I don't want to create any resentment between us. I don't want to feel like I owe you something. Even if you did it as a gift, I'm going to have this feeling on my heart. This is on me, and I don't want that on my conscience. I love you too much to do that. So I appreciate it, but I got this. In a few months, it'll be gone.
That's my line of thinking, but she was all about, which is why I'm calling. She's all about Dave Ramsey saying, he just says pay it off. But I'm like, I don't have that money.
But you will in the next 3 months.
I don't even have an emergency fund.
How much is it?
Pay it off in 3 months. Right now, it's $7,000.
And what's your income?
My income with both full-time jobs is $56,000.
Yeah, I think I would say what George said, and if she keeps pressing you on it, I would say, what is causing you to keep aggressively offering to pay my debt? I don't need you to. I don't want you to. I've said thanks. What is it that is driving you to keep doing this? I would kind of put it back on her.
Oh, she told me that last night.
What is it?
She told me that she's very concerned about my health because I'm starting to fall asleep when I shouldn't be.
Okay. Appreciate that. But again, you already told us that you don't need it and you don't think you should do it. So, be a big girl and say, thanks, sis. I'm okay. I'm just tired.
And maybe you go to one full-time job and find a different one that pays you as well as both do. And
that's an option. Speed everything up a little bit.
It doesn't have to crush you, and if it takes a few months longer, that's okay. Do it at your pace, but with intentionality.
There's something in your gut that is telling you not to take the money from sis. You need to honor that. I would trust your gut on this one. Thank you so much for the call. You got this. Hang in there. Get some rest. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. The phone number to jump in is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. George, headline I shared the other day on the Ken Coleman Show, and I wanted to bring it to The Ramsey Show. CNBC did an article. Headline reads, 50% of workers are burned out, and productivity paranoia is making it worse. So let me tell you what productivity paranoia is, George.
I've never heard of this term.
I know.
Do I have it? I don't know. I'm paranoid.
No, you're paranoid in general.
That's true.
But productivity paranoia is the position that companies via managers and leaders are taking with the people that work for them. And the idea is this is specifically related to remote workers and hybrid workers, remote, full-time remote, or the hybrid workers spending some time in the office and then some time remote. And so you were seeing it with keystroke tracking on your keyboard.
I've heard about that.
Monitoring your key fob, on the days you're supposed to be in. Softwares that we reported one story of a lady who got fired because she cooked something in her kitchen and her computer was spying on her. She was working in her kitchen at home and she was in a phone-related job where she had to make a certain amount of phone calls, and she had her computer open, and the computer software, they were able to have access to it, and they were watching her
on the camera
cook something in her own kitchen. Okay, cook a meal for lunch.
I didn't know it was legal to run the camera without your knowledge.
This is just a real life situation. I reported on this story. This is a big trend on TikTok. So the lady got fired over it, and they were spying on her in her own home. Okay, so this is the productivity paranoia. So, hey, we don't see you. We don't hear you. Are you working the hours that we say you're supposed to work? Okay, and then you've heard the terms, the Great Resignation, right, where we had nearly 60 million people quit in the last 13 months. The number continues to truck along. September job report broke another record of people leaving their jobs. And then, of course, I know because you're Mr. Millennial and Mr. TikTok, Mr. all the things on social, you know about the term quiet quitting.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a phrase that was born on TikTok, and it refers to people who are doing just the bare minimum. So whatever is expected of me, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do anything more because I don't want to burn out, right? And so you got all this going on. And the reality is that 90% of workers, this is a Microsoft study. So Microsoft has, Office software, and they did a study, 20,000 workers worldwide, George. And this is the interesting dichotomy, all right, between workers and leaders, okay? 90% of workers report they're productive at work, okay? Yet 85% of bosses say hybrid work has made it hard to be confident that those employees are being productive.
Oof.
Right? So the old idea, the old phrase, out of sight, out of mind, plays into this.
Can I be honest? If I'm a worker taking a survey, why would I mark myself as unproductive?
Right.
Now, obviously, Microsoft did the survey, not the company they work for.
Right.
But still, everyone thinks they're more productive than they really are.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. But this is a true problem because when you're in person, I can see Ken at his desk. I see him in the meetings. And with Zoom, you might have a team meeting over Zoom once a day. But other than that, people are going, well, I got my 48 minutes in. I finished my work for the day, Ken. Why does it matter what I do with the rest of the 7 hours?
Exactly. And so what's happening is you've got companies that are saying, I don't see you. And so I'm going to track every movement because managers are feeling the pressure to report up to their higher-ups that productivity is happening.
Which that hurts culture, that hurts trust, all the way around.
So that adds to the burnout, right? Because I believe there are 5 causes of burnout, George, at work. And I'm curious, how many of our audience members are feeling these sources of burnout, because burnout's a thing, but we got to get to what's the source of burnout. One is a toxic workplace where there's a lot of gossip, backbiting, politics, lying going on, apathy, things of that nature. That's a very toxic environment. Then there's your overworked. You just feel like you're drowning the moment you pull into the parking lot. Then there is you don't feel recognized, you're overlooked, you're not getting opportunities for promotions, you feel like you're not seen or you're recognized for your work. Then there's just straight up boredom. You just have no challenge. And then the final factor that causes burnout is no purpose or meaning in the work. Like there's no juice. You don't love the work. The results of the work don't fire you up. So if you take all of that, plus you add in the fact that you feel like your boss is your nanny,
you got Big Brother happening.
Monitoring you, right? Like you're in the crib. Go to sleep, George. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And I think that's all contributed to it. And one other piece of data from this study, this is not just a worker issue, this is a manager issue. Compared with in-person managers, hybrid bosses struggle more to trust their employees by a score of 49 to 36%. And then they say they have less visibility into their direct reports' work. That's 54% versus 38%. So in-person bosses more trusting, hybrid or remote bosses not so trusting. Wow. And it's just creating a lot of tension between the worker and the leader.
You know, it would be a fun game to play if you're listening and watching. You put the hand up and you go, finger down if you have a toxic culture. Finger down if you feel like you're overworked. Finger down if you feel overvalued. And if you're down to 2 fingers, it's time to peace out.
Oh, George, did you think of that on the fly, George?
Yeah, that is how my brain works.
That's impressive.
I was actively listening, but I was also going, that would be a fun game.
And that's a good game.
So it works if you get down to 1 finger.
1 finger's a little different. That's
it's a little bit different attitude.
That's a spicy attitude.
Different reply.
If you're 4 out of 5 on that list, Ken, you got to go today.
Yeah, it was absolutely right. And we're here to help with that. Absolutely. Leaders, from an EntreLeadership standpoint, we can help you in how you're communicating, how you're leading. And then on the Ken Coleman Show, again, I can help you. I mean, again, once you know what's causing the burnout, it's like going to the doctor and going, I got sore knee. The last thing you want the doctor to say is, well, I've taken a look at it and I can now tell you that you have sore knee. That's not what you want.
That's Dr. Coleman for you.
Yeah, you want to know what's causing the soreness.
Get to the root of it.
Let's get to the root. And those 5 causes of burnout: toxic work environment, you're overworked, you're underappreciated, you're bored, or you have no meaning or purpose in the work. That can make you not want to come into work very often. And by the way, not only do you not want to come in, it's affecting productivity. And so leaders are going, I got to track you, I got to track you, I got to track you. That's not leadership, that's nannyship. And what followers are saying, and people that we're going to go, listen, I'll get the work done, but treat me like I'm a human being. Treat me with some dignity. Treat me with some love. Show me how to do it. Train me to do it better.
That's great leadership.
So.
And Dave and I, we just released an Entree Leadership podcast this week all about the difference between a boss and a leader. And everything you're talking about, that is...
How would you sum it up?
That's bossery.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Dave talks about this in the... I'm going to tease it here.
That's all I'm saying.
Everyone needs to listen to it. But he talks about all the things you're talking about. Does the team feel valued? Do they care? Are you pushing? Are you pulling? How often are you meeting with your team? How connected are you? And that's one of the reasons all 1,100 of us are under one roof every day. We just value that as a team. We think it builds culture. We think it builds trust. We think there's more productivity. And it's not from a big brother standpoint of if Dave doesn't see you, you're not working. But we just know the value of being together in proximity physically. Yeah. And Simon Sinek, I just interviewed him, and he said much of the same. It's crazy how much of it aligned.
Yeah, well, what's interesting about that, just read some data, nearly 60% of Gen Z wants to work in person. They do not want remote work. They are craving the relationship connection in the workplace. It's fascinating. Yes. You don't see those numbers, of course, with Gen X, which is my generation, and boomers, but there is a disconnect between, and again, I'm not anti-remote work. Okay, if you can get it, if you can do it and be productive, you got a good, healthy leader, great. But it does cause all kinds of problems, and we're beginning to see this in the data.
And Dr. John Deloney's always talking about the loneliness epidemic we're facing as we just stare at our screens and lose personal, physical connection with people. Yeah. And that's one of the benefits I get from just being here versus remote work. You got to be way more intentional about that in your personal life.
I mean, I just for a moment want you to consider, George, how much better your life is because you sit 3 feet away from me every day.
I couldn't even calculate it, Ken.
I mean,
it's immeasurable.
It's invaluable.
Wow.
Because we get to say hi to each other and the high fives, the fist bumps.
That's a double blessing.
It is.
The two of us in one room.
Hey, it's always a blessing to spend an hour with you here on the Ramsey Show.
But, I mean, you make it easy.
It's always big fun. Hey, I want to thank the team behind the glass. They keep us on the air. In America, we want to thank you for listening. This is your show. This is The Ramsey Show.
Do you love a good Dave Rant? Want to see the latest Ramsey Show videos going viral? Check out your favorite moments from The Ramsey Show on YouTube. Go watch and subscribe to The Ramsey Show channel on YouTube.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio. This is The Ramsey Show. It's where we talk about your life, your money, your work, and your relationships. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by George Camel. It is a free phone call. If you want to jump in, we're here to help you, to give you some hope through some practical, clear steps forward. 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. George, you ready to go?
Game on.
Yeah, you got all your answers, your cue cards ready to go?
I have sports references ready, Ken. I mean, this is, wow.
Here we go. Ben is up in Phoenix, Arizona. Ben, how can we help?
Hi. First, I just want to say my parents are huge fans of the show, and they've been teaching us the concepts of financial peace for a very long time, and they just definitely wanted me to shout them out for this. But
nice. What are their names?
Jenny and Marianne.
Jenny and what is it?
Marianne.
There it is. Jenny and Marianne, thank you for being longtime listeners, and there is the shout out.
Raising a good kid. All right. How can we help today?
So I've found myself in a pretty fortunate position. I just graduated in May from college, and I got a job. I'm making $78,000 a year.
Nice.
I don't have any debt, and I moved back in with my parents. But I'm trying to decide if it's a good idea to move out, and I certainly would like to. But I'm saving up for, I'm planning to get engaged to my girlfriend pretty soon, and she is gearing up to go to med school within the next 2 years, and thinking about all the debt that comes with that. I'm just wondering if it's a good idea to move out yet, or...
Yeah, it's time to move out, man. You got no debt. You have a great income. It's time to fly the coop and, have some dignity on your own and have that independence.
That's great to hear.
So it sounds like making $78K. Can you afford a place on your own? That's 25% of your take-home pay?
Yeah.
I got to ask you, when George said that, you were like, oh, it's great to hear.
Why'd you need our permission?
What's behind that? Are you feeling pressure from mom and dad to stay a little longer?
No. So everyone that I talked to at my job has said, I'll write that out as long as you can.
Oh.
And
but they're broke. You're not.
Okay.
They want to stay children. You're an adult.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I moved at 20, and I think it really, there's nothing wrong with going home for a season if you're trying to pay off debt and really do something aggressive like that. But man, it really stunts your growth long term to just have that safety net and just go, well, I'm just going to live with parents because it's easier, and I got meals here. At some point, you got to be an adult and go, I got to pay my own insurance and learn how to cook a meal.
It's absolutely right. I got to take the old man opinion here on this one. This is under the guise of, well, it's financially smart to stay with mom and dad. That's just avoiding responsibility. This is the generation that came up with the term adulting, which I can barely say without spitting. So yeah, good for you and your response. You need to do what you believe is right, and George is absolutely right. It's going to make you so much more fulfilled being your own man and getting out there. So yeah, go for it, man.
My guess is your take-home pay is probably somewhere in the $4,500 a month range.
Yeah, probably around $4,200.
Okay. If you can find a place for about $1,000 in your area to rent, that's great. If you need to get a roommate, that's fine too. If the place is $2,000 and you get a roommate that covers one of it, then I think that's a wise move. I had roommates up until I was about married, and it was great.
Yeah. So here's the deal.
Gotcha.
Turn off the noise, Ben. Like, they're going to criticize this move when you go back to work. You got to be a big boy. Put your big boy pants on and be okay with them disagreeing with you. But that's simple. Real. I mean, let me just say this. In no way am I knocking Ben, but peer pressure is real. I mean, peer pressure isn't just a middle school, high school phenomenon. I mean, it really does affect adults as well. You got a chorus of people going, hey,
well, it's part of the pessimism about everything's so expensive, and none of this is our fault, and the other generation set us up for failure. And while some of that is true, it's also your responsibility for what comes next.
Yeah.
And you can't just sit back in a corner and go, well, as long as mommy and daddy are here, I'm going to be okay.
I got a term.
What is it?
It's like quiet quitting. It's lazy living. I'm just going to live at home with mom and dad.
This is your third term you invented. There was excusism, compound impact. And now this one, lazy living.
I should probably take the rest of the show off.
Write these down.
I don't want to hurt myself.
Brilliant.
Yeah, there it is. All right, Carlos is on the line in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Carlos, how can we help?
Hey, how's it going, you guys?
We're having a blast. What can we do for you?
Well, I appreciate everything you guys do for everyone. And so my biggest question is, I got a job offer, and I'm kind of stuck on whether to take it or not.
All right. What was the job offer?
So the job I do right now is I'm an automotive technician.
Okay.
And the job offer is basically to go just to another shop. So basically, I'll be doing the same thing, but they're offering me $1 more.
What's the jump from what to what?
It's working from a dealership to an independent shop.
Okay, what's the numbers? Is it 18 to 19?
No, it's from $32 to $33.
Yeah, that doesn't even matter. And let me take a wild guess. You're calling because your brain and your heart are having a wrestling match. Your brain's telling you, man, it's a no-brainer. You got to take the other job. They want you. It's $1 more. But your heart's going, I don't think I actually want to go over there. Am I about right or am I wrong?
I mean, you're about right. I guess like my biggest thing is here where I currently work. You know, I have a lot of more leeway here, so they understand.
What do you mean by
kids,
leeway?
You know, they understand that, you know, with my kids that they'll let me, you know, if I have to go pick them up from daycare.
Flexibility, and they value you.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so here's the deal. I wouldn't even consider the new job unless they would promise you the same flexibility. I wouldn't even consider it. I can hear it. You know, that's why your heart's going, do we really want to leave and leave this type of value, this type of flexibility that's really good for us, right? For $1 more, it's just not worth it on paper. Now, if the independent shop will promise you the same flexibility and value the same way, but you're going to have to ask people who work there. You're going to have to talk to people who already work there and go, hey, this is what I have at the other shop. You think they'll allow me to do that here? They'll tell you the real. You know, get an idea of what the culture's like over there by talking to guys and gals that are doing the work, not the leaders who are interested in hiring you. But Carlos, unless you find that, I'd stay where you are. George, you agree?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. It's not worth it if it's going to be a tougher work environment. You go, this wasn't worth the extra few thousand.
Yeah.
Just wasn't.
When the head and the heart are in a wrestling match, you got to listen to the heart. Always. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by my colleague, George Camel. We're here for you. 888-825-5225. Talking about your life, your money, your work, your relationships. 888-825-5225. Right now is the time of year when it's make or break when it comes to our goals. We're heading into the holiday season, and it's hard to stay motivated. George loses all motivation for his figure around Thanksgiving.
Oh,
I know
so
this is
true,
true.
Ken.
You wear the Sandsbelt pants.
I gain at least 2 pounds.
But whether it's finding a better job, making more money, paying off debt, building stronger relationships, it can be hard to keep the momentum going. But in a couple of weeks, we have the day. We could call it a Kickstarter day to kickstart momentum. To keep that momentum going for you. We call it the SMART Conference. It's one of our biggest events. We're going to be in Dallas for a day-long event where you'll get advice from leading experts on money, personal growth, career, mental health, and your marriage. Join me and the rest of the Ramsey personalities, Dave Ramsey, Dr. John Deloney, Rachel Cruz, George Camel, Christina Ellis, and it is going to be a fun day. It's live in person October 22. Get your tickets before they sell out. Go to RamseySolutions.com/events. That's RamseySolutions.com/events. It's going to be a fun day, George.
There's a live band, and I'm going to audition to be in it. I'm real excited.
From what I understand, you might be making a cameo.
I realize I'm on stage about 4 times at this event, Ken.
Yeah.
So it's a never-ending
Are we
party.
allowed to talk about the other fun thing we're all doing, or
I
they
don't
consider
know if it's
that to be taboo?
Yeah, I don't know if if we can let the cat out of the bag. But let's
need
just
to
say
find
this:
out.
it's the most fun we have at an event. High energy, high entertainment value.
No question.
Not your grandma's event, but bring her.
Yeah.
She'd love it.
Your grandmother would love it.
I might invite her.
You might invite your grandmother?
I don't know that she can make on the plane these days.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Bless
there
her.
you go. All right. Bless her heart. What do you call her?
Teta.
Say that again?
That's Arabic for grandmother.
Say that again.
Teta. Like T-E-T-A. Teta.
Teta.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
That was mildly offensive, but I think you passed the test. You passed.
Oh, no. George,
passed.
you can't walk me into offending somebody.
No, you did pretty good. There was an attempt made.
Yeah. It's
effort.
My version of your grandmother's name is far better than you saying Toyota.
That is true.
All right.
I get heckled by the gang because I say
score on that.
Toyota instead of Toyota.
Now
like
you're
a robot. Who talks like that? I'm from Boston, dude. What do you want from me?
People in Boston don't say Toyota. Whatever that is, okay? They don't butcher it like that. That's
Ask
offensive.
Ben Affleck. He'll tell you.
All right, very good. Speaking of Boston and, the rivalry between the Red Sox and the Yankees, we go to the Big Apple. Thomas is in New York City. Thomas, how can we help?
Hi, guys. How you doing today?
Well, we're having too much fun, as you can tell. How can we help?
As a matter of fact, the New York Yankee game is tomorrow night. I'll be going to it for the playoffs. So
there you go. Hey. You got to see Aaron Judge maybe hit one out of the park?
I hope so. It's nice to be in the playoffs again this year.
That's what I'm saying. The Red Sox aren't there, are they?
No, they are not there.
I just wanted to point that out.
I'm done with sports talk with Ken. How can we help, Thomas? What's going on?
Yeah, let's get on. We're not here to talk about sports. All right. Listen, I've inherited about $88,000 from my father who just passed.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, that's okay because he was 95 years old. He had a great run.
Wow.
I can't say anything. That's what I mean. I mean, people say, "Oh, you're sorry." I mean, 95 years old. He lived a great life. I hope to live that long.
Come on,
amen.
You and me both, pal.
Let's celebrate it.
And what a legacy to leave you with a chunk of money as well to bless you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge chunk, but it is. Like I said, it's $88,000, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with this money or where to put it for now. Like I said, I'm 55. I mean, I have a good job. I earn a good living. I have a pension with that job. I have small savings account. I pay my bills. So it's not necessarily I need the money necessarily, but the end is coming soon. Being 55. Well, not the end, but
wait a second. I thought we were living 40 more years.
Got dark real quick, Thomas.
I don't mean the end.
Sure.
I mean
you want to retire in the next 5 or 10 years.
We got you. We got you.
Well, 10 years. I got to go at least 65 to get my full pension anyway.
Okay. So, do you have any debt?
I do not. I got rid of my debt when I got divorced.
Okay, so no debt. You said you have some money in savings. Do you have a fully funded emergency fund? 3 to 6 months of expenses?
Maybe 3.
Okay.
I got like 14, 15 grand.
And what kind of account is the $88K in? Was it a traditional IRA?
It came from an annuity and an IRA, I think.
Okay.
Was the other account. I mean, I have the money. All the
it's in your bank?
Yeah, no. Well, I have a check. I have a check in my drawer, and I have they direct deposited the one account direct deposited automatically into my savings account of $45,000.
Have you looked into the tax implications? Are there any on this?
I was told by an attorney that I won't be taxed on this inheritance.
Okay. I just wanted you to triple check that before you go, spend it, and then tax day comes and they go, you owe us 20 grand.
I'm like, I'm going to get back 30, 40% almost probably, right?
Yeah. So I would work with a tax pro on that just to double check, depending on the type of account. But if I'm in your shoes, I'm going to apply it to my next goal. And if that's, maybe add some to the emergency fund, do you have a house right now? Do you have a mortgage?
I do not. I rent.
Okay. Do you have any aspirations of being a homeowner?
I'm not. I did that.
Been there, done that. He said.
20-something. I did that for 20-something years. I was married for 20. The house we ended up losing the house due to the divorce through foreclosure, and so then I had to file bankruptcy and the whole 9 yards. So
oh my goodness.
Going forward, that was 11 years ago. So
okay.
Going forward, I filled up my pants, my britches, and then I kept going, and I'm in pretty good shape right now.
Okay, I might consider it only because if you live to 95 like Pops, that's 40 years of rent going up and expenses going up. And so I'd rather you have a fixed expense with a mortgage and maybe you can tackle that and pay it off, and this money can help kickstart that.
it did cross my mind. But, I mean, the housing market is not it's not a joyride right now.
Sure. But also, it's not going to be a joyride. It's 40 years of increased rent in New York.
Right.
And so that also worries
but
me.
So on this path, though, George, that you're bringing up, I think this is good, Thomas. In 10 years from now, let's fast forward 10 years, and you retire. Would you stay in New York, or would you be open to moving to another place where it's less expensive?
Technically, I'm in New Jersey, and I'm at the Jersey Shore, technically. So when you say New York, I'm not necessarily in New York City.
Sure, gotcha.
So you know what I mean? I mean, I can afford the rent here. The housing market is still kind of crazy. I could probably buy something, but then, like you just said, George, about being, 10 years from now, and then, what are you going to do? You're going to stay in Jersey or go to Florida or what? I'm not sure yet. Didn't really cross my mind.
I'd be thinking about that.
Yeah, but worst case scenario, I could just sell real estate at any time. You know what I mean? That's not.
And that real estate would appreciate over the 10 years while you decide. And so now you've been building equity. The house has gone up in value. You sell it, and now maybe you could pay cash for something in your next spot versus having zero assets to your name. So I just want you to consider it. I think it's a great part of a retirement plan to have an asset like a home that will continue to grow in value, and you control your biggest fixed expense in retirement, which, number one is probably housing. Number two is going to be healthcare.
Right.
So something to consider with the inheritance. But if you need to upgrade the car, I like to do three things when it comes to money: give it, save it, spend it. So I'd start with the giving. If you want to give some of it and be generous, you want to save some of it, add to the emergency fund, maybe, max out a retirement account, and then with the rest, enjoy some of it too.
Yeah, I guess so. So then, in other words, putting it into an annuity or something like that, not...
I'm not a fan of annuities. I want you, maxing out IRAs, 401ks, solid retirement accounts. I wouldn't mess with annuities at this point.
Yeah. Talk with one of our smart investor pros, RamseySolutions.com. Find several in your area, go meet with them, talk through your options, and they're going to give you some tremendous advice. So there you go. I thought that was fun. Throughout the show today, I called you Jersey George.
I know.
And we take a call from Thomas, who's from the Jersey Shore.
And he had the great accent to go with it.
Yeah, you should have said the bada bing, bada boom with him.
That was the perfect moment.
You missed it, but there it is. You missed the opportunity.
Miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
There it is. Don't move. More Ramsey Show coming right up. Welcome back to the Ramsey Show, America. Thrilled that you are here with us. I'm Ken Coleman. He is George Camel. The phone number is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Kevin is joining us now in Laguna Beach, California. Kevin, how can we help?
Hey, guys. Appreciate you taking the call.
You bet.
So I've been with my company for 15 years now. Moved into the VP of sales role 4 years ago. Due to COVID, we went from 50 employees down to 11. We're back up to 26. But with that, VP of sales turned into marketing, social media, partner business, a lot more than it was maybe 2-3 years ago. And, have a job offer on the table that is a lateral potential move, a little bit less in the pay, but definitely a higher ceiling. And just kind of wrestling and struggling with, do I stay where it's comfortable, quote unquote, or do I kind of go out on a limb and risk something after 50 years at a company? It's kind of hard to walk away from what you know.
Yeah, I think you've laid out a pretty clear opportunity, and I think I've got an opinion on this one, but I want to know how much less pay and then for how long.
Yeah, so my current job has a salary of $205, and then bonuses on top of that, but the bonuses are, we'll just say $205. Mm-hmm. The new job has a base of $160 with an on-target earning of $190 for year one, and then year two, they haven't laid out what that looks like. So it's a $20K, $25K for the first year cut.
Well, You said 205 and then 190. So that's okay. So that's 15.
Yep.
So, and then the question is year 2, because that's what you said. Year 1 is 190. If you hit everything.
Yep.
What do you think year 2 and year 3 look like?
They're putting that together by Friday, so I should have more information on that.
I'd want to know. I'd want to know what that ladder looks like, because the way you laid it out is, all right, Ken, I make a lateral move professionally as far as title and responsibility, but less pay. The 15 grand less pay for an opportunity to climb, I would always consider that, because I look at it as, well, how long am I going to have that deficit? And it doesn't seem like very long. They're going to get you the numbers, and I think you got to weigh it there. But the opportunity to take an opportunity to get a higher ceiling, or the way you put it, higher ceiling, I'd put it as, I've got a ladder that I can get on and climb. And, I don't feel like that you love the environment you're in now. It may not be bad. I'm not saying you hate it, but I don't think you love it, and I don't think there's much of a ladder, or if there is one, it's not one you want to climb. Is that fair? I'm reading in between. Okay.
Yeah. No, I report to the owner of the company, so I am as high as it goes right now.
Yeah. See, I always preach progress, because that's just how humans are wired. You know, I mean, Kevin, that doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a human. We want to make progress. We want to grow. So I want to go where I can grow. And if I've got to go backwards temporarily, so one step backward in order to take 2 steps forward, as long as I can absorb the pay cut and it is a short-term sacrifice, then I would absolutely do it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, and things that they're going to lay out hopefully by Friday is also equity in the company.
Come on.
Like that.
Come on with that.
I'm hoping and assuming you're in a great place financially, making this kind of money.
We're comfortable.
Okay.
I mean,
no debt, emergency fund.
We're comfortable. Yep. No debt, emergency fund,
investing,
pay cash for car. Our car is investing, 401k, all that stuff.
So you can afford to take this pay cut. It's not going to affect your budget that much.
Yeah, and the wife is also a nurse that could go back, a couple more days a week.
Wonderful.
In the interim.
Yeah, that's,
so
by the way,
we've got options.
Yeah, and that's what I want to point out to the larger audience. When I say absorb it, that's what I'm talking about. You're not, it's not a 4-alarm fire and you're all of a sudden struggling and having to live off credit cards and all that crap. And, you can actually do this, and you're in a place to do it. So you don't have to take it. Right? You could keep your options open, but I certainly would listen all the way up until they give you all the details and answer all of your questions.
Yeah. So I've been trying to get out for about 4 years now.
Good.
So I've been looking.
This feels right, doesn't it?
It feels right. It's just kind of the unknown, but also kind of the pay cut, and it's the people who are closest to me, and I guess who care about my soul, are saying take the job.
Oh,
right. Like
that to me is even more important than my or George's advice.
I don't know. Ken's number one for me, but
I know.
I get it.
Yeah.
I think you know what to do, Kevin.
Yeah. I mean, listen, this is good for you. You got to listen to your heart on this one. Let's get all the details, and if it feels right, I'd walk into it. Absolutely. Because you'll climb, and you'll look back on this as, I think, a watershed moment in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, you're the man.
Appreciate the insight.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
It's one of the reasons people do this plan is because it gives you options. And when it comes to situations like this, it's not, well, we have $400,000 in debt to clean up, so we can't take this jump. We can't take the pay cut. It allows you to do these kinds of things.
Yeah, absolutely right. But let's also put this in quick context. Even if he was in the debt snowball, like if he was, paying off debt, and he could absorb this by his wife going back to work, selling some things, cutting the budget.
Yes, which high earners tend to have big budgets.
I still would consider it. It's not long term. We're not taking a long term pay cut. And if we can absorb it, if I can sacrifice in my finances, if I can sacrifice, and I'm eating on rice and beans and rice, if I'm cutting the cable, if I'm sacrificing all these areas that we do financial, we can also sacrifice a little bit professionally in order to get going forward. Our friend John Maxwell, I worked for John for years. You've had the chance to interview him. He said one time, and it's a beautiful little phrase, you got to give up to go up. And what do you have to give up sometimes in order to go up? And if you can handle it, I'm not saying it's a blanket automatic yes, take a pay cut to make more money in the long term, but sometimes it's the right move, and you make the sacrifices necessary. So there you go.
It's a good word.
Let's go to Michael in Tampa, Florida. Michael, how can we help?
Hey, how are you? Thank you for taking my call.
You bet. What's up?
Hey, so basically my fiance and I, we just paid off our debt. We're working towards saving for our 3 months of expenses. But my question is, I just got a job that's like an hour and a half away, and we're trying to basically save up for a home to kind of get us closer to my job. I remember Dave was talking about how he was okay with the 5% down for the mortgage, but I kind of want to know the reason why. Like, what's the reason between like the 5%, 10%? I know the 20%, I can avoid the PMI, but since this is a hectic drive, we want to move faster than wait until we get to 20%, if that makes sense.
Sure. Well, number one, the options are not either we buy a home tomorrow or we have to commute an hour and a half. I mean, you guys could rent for a while. It may not be fun. You may want to be a homeowner, but that's number one, is to just realize you have more than one option here. Number two, the 5% is for first-time homeowners, which it sounds like you would be.
Right.
And that still has to be within the parameters of a 15-year fixed-rate mortgage, and the payment can't be more than a quarter of your take-home pay, around there. Right. And so it's hard to do that with 5% down. It depends on your area. If you live, in a rural area in the Midwest, you could probably get by with that. Living in Tampa, I don't know how those numbers would work out for you. Can you put 5% down and still have that be a reasonable payment?
I don't know yet. That's why I wanted to call you guys, because you guys are able to like dumb it down for me.
We try to put the cookies on the bottom shelf, and partially because I'm not that intelligent. So
George
I can't help
really understands dumb.
I can't help it. It's right there.
Yeah.
So, Michael, I would jump on to RamseySolutions.com, click on the mortgage calculator, and start to play around with those numbers. And you might find that, we're going to have to put 15% down to have this be a reasonable payment on a condo and a townhome instead of a single-family home. And so either way, it may not be ideal. Your first house is never going to be the nicest house you live in. So you've got to understand that. And do not combine finances until you are officially married. And so I heard some language I wasn't sure, but wanted to clarify that. But you can be a homeowner, but if you do it right now, the home might own you. And that is my fear. So do it the wise way, even if that means going slow.
He is George Campbell. I'm Ken Coleman, and this is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. Our scripture today is Colossians 2:8. See to it that no one takes you captive through hollow and deceptive philosophy, which depends on human tradition and the basic principles of this world rather than on Christ. Our quote from Alexander Hamilton, don't start singing, George.
I wouldn't dare.
Caution and investigation are a necessary armor against error and imposition. Now, see, you got to read that one twice because they use good words back then.
$10 words. They don't make them like they used to.
Yeah. Soak on that one for a little bit. He's George Campbell. I'm Ken Coleman. This is The Ramsey Show. So excited that you are with us. Hey, if you like the show, please consider subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it with a friend. That's how we grow, and you're a big part of that. So there you go. Josh is on the line in Buffalo, New York. Josh, how can we help?
Hey, guys. How's it going? Great to get the chance to talk to you guys.
Yes, sir. Good to talk to you.
All right. So I've got a quick question about my wife's retirement plan. We're going to start investing shortly. We took a little pause just to pay off some debt and buy a house. So my question is, we have the option to do a Roth 401k with our financial advisor, or she works at a hospital and the hospital offers a 457B deferred compensation plan. And really just my question is, should we do the 457B through her work or a Roth 401k with our advisor?
How is your advisor allowing you to do a Roth 401k?
Oh, I'm sorry, not a 401k, a Roth IRA.
Oh, there we go. I was like, I have never heard of this.
I was thinking the same thing.
My mind is blown. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got the IRA option.
A Roth IRA or a 457B, yeah.
Now, there are such things as Roth 457Bs. Do you know if she has a Roth option there, or is it just traditional?
It's traditional. It's not a Roth.
Okay. So our outlook on investing in our framework is that match beats Roth beats traditional in that order. So does she have any match with her employer?
There is no match.
No match.
There is no match.
Okay. So beyond that, we are going to take advantage of all Roth options available to us, and it sounds like right now that would be a Roth IRA for each of you.
Correct.
And so I would fully fund the Roth IRAs. That's $6,000 a piece. And if that doesn't get you to that 15% of your household income, then we're going to move to the 457Bs and put the rest into that.
Gotcha.
What do you have available?
So I've got a Roth 401k through work, and then which I'm contributing to get the match, and then a Roth IRA with our advisor.
Okay, cool. And I mean, I'll tell you what I do personally, what my wife does. She works here at Ramsey. We do all 15% into our Roth 401k. We have great retirement options and funds in that. And so because they're Roth, we just do all of it in there. And then if you maxed out 401k, you can move to the IRAs.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that was a question I could have asked too, because right now I'm just doing enough to get the match with my 401k at work.
Sure.
And then I'm just doing the other, 14%? I think it's 6% at work, so 4% into
what's the match at work?
Advisor. 6%, but only 25 cents on the dollar.
Oh, okay. Okay. So beyond this, you want to get to 15% total of your household income invested.
Right. Okay.
And so between those two, and there are income limits with the Roth IRA, so if you go beyond that, what is your household income?
140.
Okay. So once you guys hit that threshold, you can still contribute to a traditional IRA. You can look at things like backdoor Roth IRAs, mega backdoor Roth IRAs. And so I'd work with your advisor when you guys do get to that point, because I have a feeling your income will continue to go up. But take advantage of the Roth options, and then whatever's left over, throw it in that 457.
Awesome. That answers my question. That's awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate the call. I want to go back.
Stuff.
I want to go back into the call because we got new people watching and listening every day, and you said it really quickly, and I want to break it down for maybe new listeners or viewers. You said, way we look at our investment strategies, we say Roth beats match.
Match beats Roth beats traditional.
Match beats Roth beats traditional. I can't even say it.
It's a mouthful. Let's be honest.
Take it away from me, but I want you
to simplify it.
Right, and I want you to simplify it a little bit more.
Sure.
So why match beating Roth? Why Roth beating traditional? I want you to.
So number one, we only encourage this once you are completely debt-free and have a fully funded emergency fund. All investing should be paused until you get those things taken care of. Once you've got those taken care of, we move to baby step 4, 15% of our income into retirement. And we say match first because that is a 100% return on our investment.
Right.
Let me explain that. If your employer matches 4%, that means if I put in 4%, my employer automatically throws another 4 on top of that.
Right.
I just doubled my money. If we were in Vegas and I put $100 at the blackjack table, I now have $200.
Boom.
I knew you'd appreciate that analogy.
As you would say, bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom, 100% return.
There it is.
Now we move to Roth because that is going to grow tax-free. Right. So you're using after-tax dollars to invest, but the money will grow tax-free and you can withdraw it tax-free.
Right.
And I love that because when I get to retirement, if I have $2 million in my Roth IRA.
You got $2 million.
$2 million. And Uncle Sam already took his cut years and years ago.
Yeah.
Which means I actually have $2 million.
Right.
And so you're also betting on the fact that taxes will continue to go up as we get older. Mm-hmm. And historically, that's has been the case. And
then the traditional.
And then traditional is where we go last, which is tax deferred. You're going to pay taxes on this later down the road.
Right.
But you're going to use pre-tax dollars to do it.
Yeah.
And so that is the last thing to take advantage of. Beyond that, if you are like, I ran out of all those options, you can just go into a taxable brokerage account, which is non-retirement funds. And a lot of people use this as a bridge account, Ken. So let's say Ken wants to retire at 50, but he doesn't have access to his Roth IRA and his 401k without penalties until later on in life. And so this bridge account can be used to where you have a taxable brokerage account. You invest with a SmartVestor Pro or whoever in index funds, mutual funds, and you might have $1 million in that brokerage account that you can now use to get by the 10 years until you have access to the rest of your funds.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of cool investing strategies. This is like next level wealth building. And part of our plan is we want you to build wealth and give generously. And it's amazing what happens once you do that, especially early on, as we continue to get calls of people in their 20s and 30s going, we paid off the house, Ken.
Yeah.
What do we do now?
Yeah.
Well, now you have 30, 40, 50 years to continue to build wealth and leave legacies and leave inheritances. We get so many calls about inheritances, and I love it because it tells me that person cared enough to leave a legacy.
Yep. I want to also, you were rolling through, George, because you got this stuff down, but you were rattling through the strategies here. The backdoor Roth. This is important for people to make a certain amount of income. Explain that.
So if you fully fund your traditional, IRA, for example, but you make too much income to qualify for the Roth IRA, well, you can convert that traditional after the fact to a Roth. And what that means is you're going to have a small tax burden because you're converting those funds. And we only encourage people to do that once they're in baby step 7.
Right.
Because it's going to cost you in taxes. And I'd rather that money go towards paying off the house and investing and all those things. And so it can be a great strategy for those that high earners who are going, well, I want to make sure that I'm investing as well, as well as I can. And so those backdoor options are still, it's not really a loophole. It's completely legal.
Yeah.
Biden was in talks about removing this.
Yes.
It hasn't actually happened. We got a lot of calls, people freaking out, going, well, they're going to get rid of it.
And the threshold for that income.
The Roth IRA, let me see what the income
backdoor
limits.
Roth is it 180?
Roth IRA income limits. I'm seeing if you earn more than 144 in 2022. If you're married and filed taxes jointly, it goes
slightly
up to
over
214 for a married filing jointly.
214 married filing jointly. Okay.
Yes.
And so that's an option there.
If you can't contribute to the Roth IRA, if you are above that, in which case you still have other options.
Okay, real quick to kind of put a bow on this, we have a great resource at RamseySolutions.com. That retirement calculator is a wonderful tool.
Oh, I love it.
So tell people about that. Give us 30 seconds on that great resource.
Yes, RamseySolutions.com. You can click on our free tools and check out the retirement calculator. And what this does is give you a really clear picture about what it's going to take to retire when you want and to afford the lifestyle you want. Because a lot of people say, well, Ken, when can I retire? And I go, well, what kind of life do you want to lead?
Yeah. Then there's a lot of people who go, is it too late?
You can retire with $800,000. You can retire with $10 million. It just depends on the lifestyle you're looking for. But this gives you a clear picture. You put in your age, the age you want to retire, how much money you currently have in investments, how much you're contributing monthly, and what you think your annual return will be. We say, 8, 9, 10%, that's realistic. And that gives you a clear picture about what life's going to look like 30 years from now, 10 years from now.
It's doable. RamseySolutions.com.
Check it out.
It is a wonderful tool. Hey, George Campbell, always full of great information.
Good times.
I had no idea you were that versed in all the retirement stuff.
I'm a giant nerd, Ken. What can I say?
I'll tell you what, it's why Dave can go on vacation. Let's just be honest.
He deserves it.
Hey, good stuff, good hour. I want to thank the team behind the glass for keeping us on the air. And you, America, for listening. This is your show. It is The Ramsey Show. Hey folks, Ken Coleman here. Did you know The Ramsey Show is one of the most popular podcasts in the world? Get your daily dose of advice on life and money. Check out all of our shows from the Ramsey Network wherever you listen to podcasts.